Hey there, Faith family. Look, I have a question for you. Does anybody out there remember some of the special things you did with your loved ones when you were just a kid? Maybe it was like an annual family trip or a day at the lake. Well, when my babies were little, I instituted Just Because Day for just my babies because they were my babies and I loved those babies like no other babies. Yeah, it kind of works that way with moms. Now, Just Because Day was never announced in advance, so you never knew when it was coming until it was already here. So woe be unto any child that missed it due to being on punishment. Oh, I hear you out there. Dr. Robinson, what the heck is Just Because Day? Well, it was loving my children in a particular way that raised them high above the average levels of communication, comprehension, and thinking skills for their age. Just Because Day was guaranteed to happen at least once a month. Twice a month if you're lucky. And if it happened 3 times in a month, Yahtzee! Look, it starts first thing that morning and it ends at bedtime. And believe me, those babies made the most of every second. Now, while we were doing this, I had many people without an invitation, comment on my children who were not their children and who were not also responsible morally or fiscally to see to the welfare of my children because, again, they were not their children, but my children. Okay. Come back, girl. Okay. Sometimes she still want to come out, but I digress. Okay, I'm back. Here she is. Yeah. I digress. These people called my children spoiled. But to spoil is to grow rotten. And I was instead loving them wisely and well. So here's how things went on Just Because Day. They awoke to the news that it was Just Because Day. Like, wake up, it's Just Because Day. And they hurried on downstairs to breakfast. And, I always bake them like fresh breads and breakfast breads, all that kind of stuff for their daily breakfast. But on Just Because Day, I would hold the bread in the oven until they were all seated. And then I would bring that bread out and just slather butter on it. And oh, mom, yeah, it's Just Because Day. And the children would excitedly talk and wonder what was going to be ahead of them. Toiletries and clothes would be done at a rapid pace and off we would go. Now, sometimes Just Because Day would be at the zoo, or sometimes Just Because Day would be at the farmers market and the Arkansas Arts Center. And sometimes Just Because Day would be at Park Plaza Mall, which I personally think was their favorite place. So let's go to the mall, shall we? Now remember, I'm taking them first thing in the morning. I'm taking them early. So there are no crowds at the mall. So we walk straight into the Disney store, and with a good morning from my crew to the staff, the children would then run up and down the aisles in search of their treasure. And I would go over to the counter and have a conversation with the manager saying thank you again, and I'll explain what for in just a minute. Any movies I had pre-ordered, if they had come out, I would pick them up and check to see what other movies are coming out soon. And then I'm watching the children out of my peripheral. And I go and I join them when I am done. And, you know, when they finish what they're doing, they go and they up to the counter and they line up according to age. The youngest would go first, and they go up to the oldest one with their choices. And when they went with their choices, they were happy because they knew that the things that they picked, Mom was going to take care of it, that it was already theirs. There would be no question. There would be no putting anything back. Now, I'm going to tell you what my children never knew. And unless they see this video, they'll still never know I did it. I would always call ahead the day before, and I would ask that my children be treated special. I needed people other than me outside of the home to talk to them as if they mattered. Let's say one of my children had some self-esteem issues. Maybe something happened at school called self-esteem. Isn't it amazing that when we went to Just Because Day, oh, you get compliments from the staff all day long. Oh, that's a pretty dress. Oh, I like your haircut. Blah, 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 blah. And if one had heard something and was going through a period of shyness, all of a sudden the staff was very interested in their opinion and where toy placement should be. And, you know, they took what the kids said to heart, because I needed my children, who would not always be at home with me, to be confident in their own opinion, to know that it mattered. And as each child approached the counter, hey, hats off to the clerks at the Disney store who knew my babies by name. They would have polite, real world business transactions and conversations with each and refer to them as sir and ma'am, while ringing up and bagging their individual purchases. And after the eldest was done, I would pay for everything and thank the clerks for just being a part of Just Because Day. And the children would say thank you, and then they would grip their little bags, and off to the next store we would go. Now, I said all of that just to say this, because you're probably wondering, why is she telling us this? Here's why. Did you know, beloveds, that God also does Just Because Day? Yeah, except for I called mine Just Because Day. He calls it when he does it favor. Let's discuss and share, shall we? Okay. Anyone breathing is blessed. When the rain falls, it falls and it waters the gardens of the unrighteous as well as the righteous. But favor was instituted by God just for his children, because they're his children. And when he loves his children, and he does love his children, he loves them like no one else can love them. And you never know the moment that favor will show up until it shows up. So woe be unto any of the Father's children who miss the favor season because of unrighteous behavior. Straighten up, y'all. Okay. I hear you out there. Dr. Robinson, what the heck is favor? Yeah. Well, favor is God loving his children in a particular way that lifts them to different levels of authority and benefits, high above the average expectations of the haters. Yeah, see, when favor comes, it comes in seasons that can be either sporadic or back to back to back. And you should always make the most of your season of favor. Now, haters are going to talk, y'all. They always got something to say. So, they will look at you like, I don't understand none of this. How is this possible? I don't understand. Or they'll say something like, what's so special about you? God got you acting all spoiled and stuff. But remember, to spoil is to make rotten. And the Bible says that God's plans for you are good and not evil. So he is therefore loving you wisely and well. So when the favor season comes, here's how things go. With no planning or begging, you open your eyes one day and ta-da! Favor has arrived. And you just run on down to that spiritual kitchen. Eat good words so that you'll have strength, the strength necessary to carry all of that divine increase. Yeah, and you're excited over God's favor and you're wondering what surprises he has for you. You're like, oh God, what you gonna do for me? I know you're gonna, will you tell me? No, I know you're not gonna tell me, but I want to know. And then you go and speedily get into the receiving position and off you go. Yeah. Now, sometimes favor happens at that zoo that you call that job that you work. And sometimes favor happens at that artistic funny farm that folks like me call home. And sometimes favor happens in a place that holds something that you didn't even know that you wanted. You had not even considered that you could have it because you never even bothered to imagine it. Which is why for many of you, that is your favorite type of favor. So let's go to that particular place that holds the things that we never even bothered to imagine, shall we? And he gets you there ahead of those who would block your way. And when you walk in, everyone is there for the sole purpose of getting favor into your hands. And you see all this bounty and you're amazed at what you have to pick from. And when you're done and you have what you want and what's coming to you, you just head right on up to the counter because there's no doubt in your mind that you're walking out the door with that favor. Now, did you ever stop to consider, to think that God had already prearranged everything with your needs and your desires and your needs and your desires and your needs in mind long before you even arrived at the store? Did you ever stop to think that while you were busy picking up all that increase, that you were also getting other things that you needed even more so without knowing that you needed it? It didn't even register until you had it, how badly you needed that thing. And have you ever noticed that your favor is placed in your individual bag because your favor is just for you? And when they are done bagging up your favor, you don't even have to worry about who's going to pay. Why? Because long before you even stepped into favor, Your father had already figuratively laid his son on the altar to pay for you to have access to his favor. Ooh, ooh. Wait a minute. Okay, I know. I'm praising him with you. I'm having a praise break too. Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, I got to get it together. Okay, let's get back to this. And before you exit with the first portion, this is just the first portion of your full season of favor. Before you exit with that, you turn and you thank those that the Father sent to pour into you. And you recognize that they poured into you so much so that they put you not just in the position of receiving, but the position of overflow. Yeah. And then you continue on your journey through the season of favor. Okay. Well, next week, beloveds, we're going to continue on this journey through the season of favor. But for now, I want to make you 3 offers. If you would like to meet for the first time this God who gives his children favor, that's 1. Or 2, if you want to return to the God who gives his children favor. Or 3, if you need a touchstone spiritual kitchen where you can get your word fixed until you can get in a brick and mortar congregation, inbox me and let's discuss this further. And oh yeah, to those of you out there, oh, where is it? Yeah, who bought the book? I'm just a man. And other excuses for avoiding God. I hear you. And I actually am. It's already in the works. At the end of next month, I think, I'm going to have a live online session for those of you who bought the book. So thank you so very much. And for those of you real quick who are seeking placement on my patient roster, I am only licensed to practice within the 50 U.S. states. But if you're in this country, I will begin accepting new patients in April. Now, that being said, my beloved faith family, until next time, I want you to always remember. I want you to inhale spirit, exhale yourself, dive deep and fly high. This has been Dr. Cassandra Robinson, CEO of the Destiny Road Warrior Incorporated. And you know what, beloveds? Oh, I am so very much loving you to new life. Be well.